Welcome back, Luxurious Fleet. In today's news, the Corolla virus is taking over China and it is having an effect on the Toyota production there. And I actually mean the coronavirus, but hopefully you guys got that. And at the Chicago International Auto Show, Toyota just announced seven special editions for the Tundra, the Sequoia, RAV4, oh yeah, the Tacoma too. And of course, we'll talk about how Lexus is opening up an assembly line for vehicles outside of Japan, right? It all started in Japan, outside of North America where they make the RX and the ES, at least for these markets here. Surprisingly, it's not in China and it's not in Europe either. Guys, I'm doing a lot of finger counting today. It's gonna be a great video. Smash that like button. I'll see you on the other side. Hey, real quick before we jump into the news, guess what? I'm wearing the Luxurious Fleet t-shirt, guys. If you haven't seen right below the summary or the description of this video, there's going to be my shop that I created a while back. I need to update a couple things, but I think you guys will really enjoy it. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. Over at the Media HQ, Toyota will not reopen the Chinese plants for at least another week as the Corolla, aka coronavirus, shows a little sign of slowing down. Well, actually shows a little sign of slowing down. That's a big difference. So this was on February 7th, and a week from there would be February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. I'm sure they don't celebrate that over in China, but hey, just another reason to look forward to Valentine's Day. More Corollas are being built. The Corolla virus has killed more than 630 people, of course mainly in China where it's originated, and has infected over 31,000 people in 25 countries and areas worldwide. Now I've heard these numbers are completely bogus, which I don't know who to believe. I've heard way more people have died from this crazy thing, and I don't know what you guys believe either, but some conspiracy theorists are saying China has been testing biological warfare and it leaked out on their own population accidentally. So, but how does it affect beloved Toyota? Well, on Thursday, Toyota considered whether to restart operations. Car factories across China have been closed since the end of last month for a long New Year's holiday as authorities try to contain the virus. Well, good luck with that. On Friday, Toyota spokesperson told CNN Business that the company was preparing to resume normal operations before February 17th and warned that there could be future and further delays. Boom, affects 12 plants, 4 automobile plants, and 8 parts and components plants that Toyota operates with joint ventures. So this can affect the entire global industry. All the major players do have some sort of ties with China, whether it's their suppliers or they actually have manufacturing plants there. So, I mean, Volvo comes to mind. They manufacture those vehicles in China. There's a lot of other manufacturers building their vehicles in China. Like I said, a lot of their parts come from there. So this is going to have a big effect potentially. Well, there's no doubt about it. It is going to have a big effect on the entire global market for automobiles. How big of an effect, we just don't know yet. I'm sure certain regions will be affected more, probably China the most at this point. But let's go past the Corolla virus and head into all these special editions over at the Toyota newsroom. Toyota rolls out 7 2021 special editions into Chicago Auto Show. So they'll be coming out this year, and all these models will be 2021 models. Now, I'm not gonna get into this too much. It doesn't excite me hardly at all because they're just putting, for most of these vehicles, they're just putting unique color combinations, unique interiors, and maybe some unique combinations in terms of packages outside of their normal trim levels. So first ever Highlander XSE debuts with bolder style and sporty handling. To me, it kind of reminds me of like the F Sport of like a Lexus RX, where the performance doesn't change at all. The interior gets a little bit of an update. The exterior gets a little bit of a sportier design to it, but really it's just for aesthetics. These trail editions of the Tacoma, Tundra, and 4Runner offer greater outdoors versatility. I think they look pretty cool. I like how they look. They add, like I said, some unique combinations of options for these outdoor vehicles. But again, I'm not really an off-roading guy, at least not at this point in my life. So doesn't do much for me. And the Tacoma, Tundra, and Sequoia go dark with the Nightshade special editions. To me, I think these look the coolest. I like the really dark hues that they put on the vehicle. But again, these are all purely aesthetic things here on the Nightshade Special Edition. So if you want to learn more about these special editions, if you're in the market in the next year for a really cool vehicle, like really cool pickup or SUV, definitely check out these special editions. I'll put the link in the description, or a link in the comments below, so you can check out these really cool trucks. I mean, I love how that Tundra looks. It looks badass. Speaking of pickups, Toyota to make more pickup trucks at Mexican plant and shipped from United States. So this is over at Yahoo Finance. Past, I guess maybe a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how Toyota's open. They're moving all of their Tacomas down to Mexico to be produced between Guanajuato plant and the Baja, Mexico plant. And they'll ramp up its new Mexican plant to 100,000 vehicles by year 2021. So you add Guanajuato with that Baja plant, they're gonna be making about 250,000 Tacomas per year in just about a year from now. Crazy thing is Toyota expects to send 95% of the pickups from those two plants to the United States. So yeah, that's a lot of tacos being made in Mexico. It'll be interesting. A lot of people have been commenting on my videos after breaking this news that they're worried about the Tacoma's quality, and they're worried that it's gonna go down. And that's always a possibility, right? But time will tell. Toyota usually has a really strict and high expectations of how business and production is done in all of their manufacturing plants. So time will tell. I'm not worried one iota about it, but I know some of you guys are shaking in your boots. Toyota may drop a wild boxy custom. So this is just a TJ Cruiser, guys, which I want this vehicle so bad to come to America. We don't know if it's actually going to be made yet, but over at Gear Patrol, they're saying that rumors are cropping up where it could be coming to market again, potentially this year. So, I just look at that. Look. You can just fold down these seats. It's so utilitarian. Oh my gosh, like, I don't know. Stuff like this gets me excited. I mean, it's like a minivan without being a minivan. Totally. It looks way cooler too, right? I don't know. So the TJ concept was debuted in 2017, and I did not know it stood for toolbox and joy. So it's a joyful toolbox. And guys, look at this. Look at this interior. It's so minimalistic. It's almost like I'm getting like a mid-century modern or like a Fallout video game technology sort of throwback with what's going on here. I love it to pieces. I love whoever designed it. And I hope it comes to market just like this. I wouldn't change anything about it. So before we get too excited, Best Car in Japan says Toyota will announce a TJ Cruiser in May of 2020. That said, reports from last August had Toyota unveiling the vehicle in October of 2019 during the Tokyo Motor Show, so take it with a grain of salt. Of course, it'll be on the TNGA architecture. It will have all-wheel drive as an option, and the powertrains are supposed to be similar to the RAV4, so expect a 2-liter inline 4 and a 1.8 liter and a 2.5 liter hybrid. Well, I don't know if we would see the 1.8 liter hybrid if this vehicle made it to the market. Definitely a 2.5 liter, maybe the 2 liter hybrid, because that is something that we see in like the UX hybrid, for example. And could this be what Toyota's working on with Mazda down in Alabama at that joint venture plant? It's a possibility. They got to come out with something. They all said it's a smaller SUV. Now this thing doesn't look that small. I mean, kind of from here it does, but it has very strong features to it. Where's some other, I mean, kind of looks big from this angle, but based off the dimensions I've read, it's not actually that huge of a vehicle. And look, this is just the second row. If you have this third row assembled here, there's not any cargo space really back there. So I think it is very small, very Honda Element-esque. Will have tons of cargo capacity, especially with the ability to fold the front passenger seats down. So really exciting stuff. I love the TJ Cruiser in its concept form, and I hope it does come to market. They say it comes to Japan first. I'm fine with that as long as it comes to America eventually, because I love fun, unique, and practical vehicles like this. Okay, so where is this new Lexus manufacturing line at? Like I said, we have one in Japan. Well, we have tons in Japan. We have the RXs and potentially the NXs to be built in Ontario. The RXs have been being built there for a long time now. We've had the ESs being built in Kentucky for some time now. So this is where the rumored plant is to start production on the ES and potentially the NX. I'm just going to zoom out for you guys. A little Google Earth or Google Maps. It's Google Maps. Google Earth would have been cooler, but I'm not that cool sometimes. So there it is, guys. It's in the southern tip of India. That actually makes a ton of sense for them to make a plant here, as well as Europe eventually, which I was expecting them to do one in Europe, but let's go into why they're doing it here in India first. I first caught wind at this over at Lexus Enthusiast. They're the ones that gave me the first link to the article, but I think one of my viewers told me that, because I have a lot of viewers in India, and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I just heard that Lexus is going to be making some ESs there. So let's go on over to the article over at economictimes.indiatimes.com. Lexus begins assembly in India, prices likely to dip. So it looks like they invested about 100 million, and this will allow them to compete much better with the German luxury car makers in India. The line has already been set up in Bidadi, Bengaluru, and the company has begun assembly of the ES sedan and will eventually add the NX to the lineup. The company currently sells half a dozen models in India, priced from, and I have no idea. I don't understand how I understand rupees to an extent, but lakhs, I know they don't work in like the same decimal system, like by tens and hundreds so much. Most currencies in the world run off of. So I'm not even going to try to do a currency exchange. If any of my Indian viewers are watching this, definitely give me an idea of what these prices are in US dollars. I'd greatly appreciate that. And so all those vehicles that are currently sold in India, they're imported as completely built imports, which come with a levy of over 100%. Making Lexus models less competitive when compared to the overall market. I remember hearing that when the LX started to be sold there fairly recently, the LX 570, it was going for around $400,000. Here in the United States, we can get it for $100,000 or less. With almost all of its rivals having a local assembly line set up, the fully built imports from Lexus were putting the company at a disadvantage due to steep imports duty. In a market of 35,000 units, Lexus sold about 500 to 600 cars in 2019, accounting for a very modest market share of just 1 to 2%. That is insane. Here in Omaha, like Lexus has a market share of 15%, which is really high. Obviously, I think they've been as high as maybe 18 to 20% at some points in time here in the local market in Omaha, Nebraska. Holy cow, 1 to 2%, that is unacceptable. They are much more competitive than just 1 or 2%. So what it tells me here is there's a big price difference. I know many Indians, and they love Lexus, they love Toyota. Gosh, we have tons of Indian customers come into our dealership and buy cars all the time. So I know that there's a big love and respect for Lexus in the Indian culture, and for them just to have 1 to 2% in India of the luxury market tells me that they are not competitive. And so them building an assembly line there makes total sense, and I'm totally on board with this decision. And before I let you guys go, over at InsideEVs.com, Toyota to introduce tiny EV with standardized reusable battery. So this isn't the first time we've heard of a reusable battery from Toyota. They talk about it a lot, especially in their interviews about EVs and fuel cells and stuff like that. And they talk about that reusing batteries has to be a part of the future to be used in homes after they have served their life in electric vehicles. And that's what Lexus Toyota is doing with these little tiny EVs here. According to the Japanese media, Toyota will unveil later this year a new ultra-compact electric vehicle, probably single or two-seater. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw these vehicles debut at the Tokyo Summer Olympics, where we know Toyota is a huge sponsor of. The key feature of the new model is expected to be a standardized battery pack envisioned for second life as a home energy storage. We don't know the details yet, but it seems that once the capacity fades by 20 to 30%, the battery will be simply pulled out and used as, like I said, energy storage system. The entire process would be far simpler than in the case of full-size car batteries. And it says here the cars could be leased for several years with scheduled battery checks over that time frame. Once a battery has deteriorated to a certain point, the company would replace it, but even as degraded batteries still hold a charge, they can be recycled as storage batteries. The reusable battery might be rated around 8 kilowatt hours, enough to power a Japanese household in Japan for several hours or up to a day or two, depending on the usage and in an emergency mode. So guys, this is the future. You got to be able to recycle, reuse, and just think outside of the box. And that's what Toyota's trying to do here. Have a modular plug and play battery technology system with these EVs. And I think, guys, maybe possibly in the future, even let's say hydrogen. If hydrogen vehicles become a thing, maybe they can plug into their house and run the house as a generator. I know that's kind of a leap here in terms of different technologies, but that is what Toyota is about, is being able to use their technologies in multiple applications, because they are a mobility company now. They're not just an automotive company, so they're thinking of ways to use future technology in the use of people's everyday lives. So what do you guys think of those 7 special editions we got at the Chicago Auto Show? I guess they're cool to look at. They're a little bit different than your average Tundra that you've seen on the market for about 10 years in that same body style. But man, that next generation Tundra cannot come soon enough, and the Sequoia as well. In 2022 is a 2023 model, so TJ Cruiser, oh my gosh, I would die to have a TJ Cruiser with a plug-in hybrid system. Maybe that's just too good to be true because I know it's more of a budget-minded vehicle, but oh, that thing is a badass. Corolla Virus, guys, we're just gonna call it the Corolla Virus because that is so apt for our channel. And then last but not least, India has been the chosen one for the next Lexus assembly line. That is good company. They know that the market's there. They've probably done tons of research. So they just invested over $100 million. I already forgot how much exactly they invested in it, but lots of money to be able to make ESs and NXs for the Indian market. Great idea. Put those German automakers in their place, or at least they can share a little bit, right? There's enough money in the world for all of them to exist, but definitely Lexus is a much better company than to have only 1 to 2% market share in the luxury market for any place in the world. Even Germany, they should have more than 1 to 2% of the market share there. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the comments below. If you love my channel, head on over to my Patreon page. I would love the support there, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Until next time, peace out.